Hi, I'm Sherry, and I'm going to show you how to do the Hourglass template that's right behind me. It makes this wonderful quilt. You're going to need a jelly roll, and this is 40 strips, 40-piece strips, or 2.8 yards of material. And you're going to need about 2.5 yards of solid material or yardage to make the quilt like that is behind me. So we're gonna first start, we're gonna cut take our strips and unroll the package and cut your yardage up in strips, the 2.5-inch strips. So we've got two here. We've got two strips. You're gonna take these two strips together. Let me move this out. And you're gonna lay them face up. So which would mean pretty side or the face side to the face side. You're gonna line them up and sew right down 1/4 of an inch all the way down it. So we've got this one. It's all sewn down it. Okay. And then you're gonna iron it open. And I normally iron mine where my seams in the back are open. I'll iron it all flat. Let me move this out of the way here. I'll iron it flat. Now these instructions for this Hourglass comes with instructions on how to do this, so it's not bad. Let's move this out of the way so you can see this. Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to start at one end of the row here, and you're going to lay it where your two pieces should fit completely on here with just the little tip at the tip. And you're going to start at the end. There's a little bit of waste at the beginning and end, but it's not bad. And you'll get two complete blocks. Two fully complete blocks out of one strip. Now you've got your end here. Now this is one block, and you're going to place you're going to turn your block or your Hourglass template around. And then here's your next block, here's your next little piece. And we're going to just keep going all the way down turning this Hourglass. You don't turn the material, you just turn the Hourglass template. And I'll get one more out of this. So out of each strip, you should have enough to do 2 blocks. Okay. And this is just the little waste you have. And you could do that with something else with those, but that's just the little waste. And here's your block. So you'll do one just alike. And one opposite. So that's your 2 complete blocks. You're going to want to sew these 2 together and these 2 together and then sew the seam. So what I've got here is I've got 2 blocks to sew together, so they're halves. Two blocks sewn, the sides sewn together. That makes your Hourglass. And then you'll sew the 2 completed blocks together. And you will get a solid block. Now this, I've already cut this one down, but to trim this up, after you sew it, you're gonna open up your seams, and be careful whenever you sew these two together. Don't try and stretch them, because this here is a bias. This is a bias here, and you don't want to stretch and pull that because it'll distort your block. So just be very careful. Lay the other one on top of it, just like that, and sew 1/4 of an inch. Just lay it down there, and then you can pin it, whatever, and just sew 1/4 of an inch, but don't stretch that. It should lay completely pretty well on top of each other. Open your seams if you'd like. I normally open my seams. I don't put them to the side. If you're worried about your seams being opened, just reduce your stitch length, and that will take care of your worried about maybe it's separating. I also start at the beginning and end of my stitch, I back stitch. So here's a back stitch, here's a back stitch as I'm sewing along. So you put those two together, and now you've got to trim. Each block you need to trim. Take your fussy, your 8-inch, it'll be an 8-inch block when you're done. Take your block, and you're going to line up your corners. Line up your seams here, line up your corners. On this one, it's going to be a little bit bigger, and then drop your fussy into it, just like that. Pull this up, and then trim your block. You know, you can turn it around and just trim off your block the way it needs to be. Just trim your block, and you'll have a full hourglass block. That's 8-inch. When you sew it to the other ones, like the one back here, it's it'll be a 7.5, because it's you take it up to 4th. I use a 4th inch seam allowance, and so for this here, like this quilt in the back behind us, I use the jelly roll, one jelly roll with the strips. You'll get and the inside material, which is this, I used 2.5 yards, and I just cut mine up in the jelly roll strip. Use my jelly roll stripper, and then it's black that stops your eye, and it was that's 1.5 inch. It's I used 1/4 of a yard for it, and then this one here is 4.5 inches. And I used a yard of it for your strip. So this ends up being 3.5 yards that you'll need of your solid border. If you want to put that on the back, you can use a solid. You don't have to use the same print. But this for the binding or the border was a yard of fabric. And then it is an 8x8. So it would be, you need 64 blocks, but you'll get more than 64 out of this. So we ended up making some placemats, and we did 4 placemats. We did a small little table runner, table topper, and to complete this. So you'll get more out of your blocks, your jelly roll. You'll get more out of it than you think. So, but that's the hourglass. Your hourglass comes with your instructions on how to do this, and that's it. Enjoy your quilt.